Have you ever wondered what's actually happening behind the scenes when you visit a website? You type in a URL, hit enter, and boom, the page loads like magic. But there is a whole intricate process unfolding to bring that website to life on your screen. In this video, we are going to break it all down step by step so it's easy to understand. You are going to learn about web technologies and how your browser plays a crucial role in making it all happen. And even if you already know about these things, I promise you will walk away with at least one new learning from this video. Think about the last time you visited your favorite website. You are scrolling through articles, checking out stunning images, maybe even clicking on buttons that instantly respond to your touch. It feels seamless, right? But have you ever stopped to think about what makes all these elements work together so perfectly? Behind the scenes, there are three key players making all of this happen. First, there is the structure that organizes everything. Then there is the design that makes it all look good. And finally, there is the interactivity that lets you engage with the content. These three parts work together to create the smooth, engaging experience you enjoy online every day. So, what are these magical tools that build the web? They are called HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. HTML is like the bones of the website, it gives it structure. CSS is the style, adding colors, fonts, and layout to make it look great. And JavaScript, that's the brains, making everything interactive and dynamic. In the next few minutes, we are going to dive into each of these technologies. We'll explore how they work together to build the website we use every day. Websites that are not only functional, but also beautiful and fun to interact with. So let's get started. Let's start with HTML. This is the backbone of every web page you have ever visited. Think of it as the skeleton that holds everything together, giving structure to all the content you see online. Whether it's a heading, a paragraph, an image, or a link, HTML is the one organizing these elements and telling your browser how to display them. Imagine you are building a house. You would need a blueprint, right? Something that outlines where every room goes, making sure everything is in the right place. Well, HTML is just like that blueprint, but for websites. Instead of bricks and mortar, it uses tags like H1 for headings and P for paragraphs to lay down the structure of your site. HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language. But what does that actually mean? Let's break it down. First one, hypertext. Regular text is something you just read, right? But hypertext is special. It lets you interact. When you see those clickable links that jump you to another page, that's hypertext in action. It's not just about reading, it's about exploring more content by clicking on these links. Now, about this markup language part. Imagine you are writing a paper and you hand it to a friend to check over. They might underline stuff to suggest changes, like making something bold. That's what markup is, marking up text to give instructions. In HTML, we do that with the help of tags. Want something bold? Wrap it in B tag. Those tags are like your friend's underlines, telling the browser how to display things. So that's the meaning of markup language. Here is a cool fact. The first website ever was made by Tim Berners-Lee in 1991 using HTML. It was a simple page with text and links to other documents. This shows how HTML connects information. If you are curious, you can still visit this historic site at this link. But HTML isn't just about content, it's also crucial for accessibility. When you structure your content with the right tags, it helps browsers, search engines, and even screen readers understand and interrupt what's on the page. This makes the web more accessible to everyone, including people with disabilities. Alright, let's settle this. Is HTML a programming language? No, HTML is not a programming language. It doesn't perform logic, run loops, or make decisions. Instead, HTML just tells the browser how to structure and display content. No algorithms, no calculations, just pure structure. So while it is the backbone of every web page, that's why it is a scripting language, not a programming language. Alright, let's dive into the world of CSS or cascading style sheets. If you think of HTML as the blueprint of your web page, CSS is the artist's brush that brings that blueprint to life. It's what transforms a plain, boring structure into something visually stunning and interactive. With CSS, you can control every visual aspect of your web page, from the color scheme to the fonts to how everything is laid out. Imagine walking into a building that's beautifully painted with well chosen furniture, art on walls, and everything arranged perfectly. CSS is what does all that in the digital world. See this comparison? On the left, we have a plain HTML page, functional but not very exciting. On the right, with CSS applied, it becomes something eye catching and professional. But wait, let me show you something even more cooler. I built a Chrome extension that lets you disable and enable CSS on any web page with just a click. Let's take my college website, for example. Here's how it looks with all the CSS in place. Pretty fine, right? Now, what happens when I disable the CSS using my extension? Boom, all the fancy styles are gone, and we are left with just the raw HTML. It's like taking away all the decorations and seeing the basic structure of the website. And with just another click, the CSS is back, restoring all the visual goodness. You can try this out yourself on any website. Just grab the extension from my GitHub and see this magic in action. Now, let's break down what CSS actually stands for. Cascading style sheets. First, cascading. Think of it like making a plate of chaat. You start with some basics like crispy puris and boiled potatoes. Then you add layers of flavors, a bit of tangy tamarind chutney, some spicy green chutney, and finally a sprinkle of save and coriander on top.
कोकेन है
Each layer
कोकेन
changes the taste of your chart. Cascading in CSS works in a similar way. It's like adding layers of instructions on how your web page should look. You might start by saying make all the text black, but then you add a rule saying make this heading blue. The browser follows these layers, showing the final result based on the most specific or important rule, just like how each new ingredient in your chart adds to the overall flavor. So, this phenomenon is called cascading. And then, style sheets. This means a collection of instructions that tell your browser how to dress up your web page. But why are they called sheets? Think of it like pages in a book or sheets of paper where each sheet contains some specific styles or rules that apply to your web page. Just like a recipe book helps you cook a meal by listing ingredients and steps, style sheets are like pages of a design manual that lay out all the visual details for your web page. That's why they are called style sheets. In essence, CSS is the magic that turns a simple, plain web page into something visually captivating. And finally, we have JavaScript, the part that makes your website interactive and dynamic. If HTML is the structure and CSS is the style, then JavaScript is the brain, controlling the actions and responses on your site. Let's say you are on a website and you click a button that triggers a pop up. Or maybe you are watching a YouTube video and the player automatically adjusts the video's quality based on your internet speed. That's all JavaScript at work, making sure your site isn't just a static page, but an interactive experience. JavaScript was created back in 1995 by Brandon Itch while he was working at Netscape Communications. It was initially developed in just 10 days. Originally, it was called Mocha, then LiveScript, and finally, JavaScript. The name was a marketing move to ride the wave of Java's popularity, even though the two languages are pretty different. Java and JavaScript are like car and carpet. Just because they both start with car doesn't mean they are related. So, what's exactly is JavaScript? Well, it is a high level interpreted programming language that runs directly in your browser. But what does that actually mean? When I say JavaScript is a high level language, what is the meaning of high level language? It means it is designed to be easy for us to use. It takes care of the complex, behind the scenes stuff so you can focus on creating cool things for your website. And because JavaScript is an interpreted language, it gets read and executed by the browser one line at a time, right when it's needed. This is awesome because it means you can see your changes instantly, no waiting for the code to compile. But JavaScript isn't just for websites. What started as a simple web language has grown into something much more versatile. JavaScript can now run on servers, power mobile apps, desktop applications, and even control robots.
Goodbye.